Hello, sir. We are the Group 3.
Good morning, sir. Our topic today is Computer Software Programming Language and Program Development, Chapter 5. Topic 1, Classification of Software. Software, isa itong app na nakaprogram na perform ng sari-sariling task at matatakal natin dito ang System Software and Application Software. Number 1, System Software. A system software aids the user and the hardware to function and interact with each other. Basically, it is a software to manage computer hardware behavior so as to provide basic functionalities that are required by the user. In simple words, we can say the system software is an intermediator or a middle layer between the user and the hardware. Sa akin naman is, ang system software. Ito yung software na siyang nagmamanage sa behavior ng mga computer para mag-function na maayos at para magkaroon ng magandang communication between the user and the hardware. Ang sample naman ng system software is yung OS, which is yung sample naman natin sa OS is yung mga gamit nating mga gadgets like Android, Apple, Linux, ganun. Mac OS, Windows 10, at marami pang iba. Ang OS naman, isa siya sa mga system software na nagmamanage sa computer hardware, software resources na siyang nagbibigay ng specific task sa computer programs. Itong OS na to ay siya nakikipag-communicate sa hardware and nagpo-provide ng mga gawain for programs. Sample is sa mga Android, iOS, ganun. And sa akin lang is dapat para mas maging maganda ang process ng OS, lagi dapat siyang updated o re-upgrade para maiwasan magkaroon ng mga debug. Device drivers. It is a type of software that controls particular hardware which is attached to the system. Hardware devices that need a driver connect to a system include displays, sound cards, printers, mice, and hard disks. Further, there are two types of device driver, kernel device drivers and user device drivers. Some examples of these drivers are BIOS driver, displays driver, mount printer drivers, ROM drivers, sound card drivers, USB drivers, VGA drivers, virtual device drivers. Ang sa akin naman, ang device driver, isa siyang hardware driver. Isa siyang group of file na nag-enable ng isa o dalawang hardware devices. Siyempre kung walang drivers yung computer ay hindi magiging maayos ang pag-send o pag-receive ng mga info o data sa hardware devices. Firmware. It is a permanent software that is embedded into a read-only memory. It is a set of instructions permanently stored on a hardware device. It provides essential information regarding how the device interacts with other hardware. Firmware can be considered as semi-permanent, and this remains permanent unless it is updated using firmware updater. Some examples of firmware are BIOS, computer peripherals, consumer applications, embedded system, and Unify. Ang firmware naman para sa akin, isa siyang software program na nagka-attach permanently sa hardware devices, lalo na sa keyboards, hard drive, BIOS, or video cards at marami pang iba. Nakaprogram siya na nagbibigay ng permanent instructions para makipag-communicate sa mga ibang devices and perform functions like basic input and output tasks. Programming language translators. These are mediator programs on which software programs rely to translate high-level language code to simpler machine-level code. Ang sa akin naman is ang programming language translators from the word itself. Ito yung program na siyang nagta-translate ng high-level language to parang gagawin niya to basic or simple, ganun. Para mas maintindihan ng mga programmers. Also, siya yung nag-aasa ng data storage, nag-enlist ng source code as well as program details, Nag-offer siya ng diagnostic reports. Also, nag-rectify system errors during the runtime. Ang example niya naman is yung sa interpreter, compiler, tapos yung sa mga assemblers. And ang last example naman ng system software is yung utility software. It is designed to aid in analyzing, optimizing, configuring, and maintaining a computer system. It supports the computer infrastructure. This software focuses on how a OS functions, and then accordingly it decides to trajectory to smoothen the functioning of the system. Software like antivirus, disk clean and manage tools, compression tools, defragmenters, etc. are all utility tools. Some examples of utility tools are Avast Antivirus, Directory Opus, McAfee Antivirus, Veriform Cleaners, Razor Contracts, Windows File Explorer, WinRAR, and WinZip. Ang utility naman sa akin is napaka-importante siya. Siya yung tumutulong nag-manage or nag-maintain or magko-control sa computer resources para maging maganda ang pag-function ng mga systems. Like example is yung sa Avast Antivirus. Kailangan natin yun para maiwasan magkaroon ng virus ng ating mga computer. Dito sa utility is para nakafocus siya dun sa mga healthy na mga applications, ganun. Kung reliable tong app na to, ganun. Siyempre, ang napaka-importante sa atin is reliable dapat yung mga application na ini-install natin.
Application software. So, application software is also known as end user programs or productivity programs are software that helps the user in completing a research, jotting down notes, setting the alarm, designing graphics, keeping an account log, doing calculation, or even playing games. Ibig sabihin nito, yung application software, ito yung yung tumutulong sa user para mapadali yung kanyang trabaho o kaya yung specific task is magagawa niya ng maayos dun sa application na yun. So, meron tayong mga ibang example na application software tulad ng word processor software. Yung word processor software naman is this application for documentation. Along with that is also help storing, formatting, and printing documents. Itong word processor software naman ito yung application na tumutulong sa user na mag-type ng words, text, or mag-edit katulad ng application na MS Word. Doon ay gumagamit tayo ng Microsoft Word para mag-type o kaya mag-edit ng mga text. So, that is multimedia software. So, yung multimedia software naman ay this software that is able to play, create, or record images, audios, or video files. They use for video editing, animation, graphics, and image editing. Itong multimedia software naman is ito yung mag-play ng mga video tulad ng movies o kaya mag-edit ng mga picture, yon. Mag-manipulate ng mga o kaya mag-create ka ng painting or pictures na kailangan na i-edit. Ito yung ito naman yung application na gumagamit ng mga Adobe Photoshop, Media Monkey, Picasa, VLC Media Player. So, yan nga. Ginagamit siya para multimedia, pictures, sounds, and images. So, sunod natin yung graphic software. Yung graphic software naman is, as the name suggests, graphic software has been devised to work with graphics at this help the user to edit or make changes in visual data or images. So, ito naman yung ito naman yung graphic software na bilang edit nila ng mga picture o kaya mga Adobe Photoshop. Yun, yung nag-edit ng mga picture, gumagawa ng mga logo, tapos mga nagre-revise ng mga images. So, yung mga software na ginagamit nila is Adobe Photoshop, Autodesk Maya, Core iDraw, PaintShop Pro. Basta yung kaya ito ginagamit din ito ng graphic software ng mga interior designer gumagawa ng sa bahay na design. Yun, yung mga yun. So, namang web browser naman is this application are used to browse the internet, help the user in locating and retrieving data across the web. So, ito naman yung tinatawag nating web browser is yung application na nagko-connect sa atin sa internet o kaya World Wide Web nga, yung nagko-connect sa internet, ito yung tumutulong sa atin na makapunta sa internet. Ganun. Yung pwede tayong pumunta sa kailangan natin i-search katulad ng Google o kaya kailangan natin mag-research ito. Application naman ang ginagamit nila is Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, saka Opera. Yun. Yung mga application na yun is ginagamit sa pag World Wide Web o kaya web browser, ayun yung mga ginagamit nila. So, may punta naman tayo sa ibang application katulad ng freeware. Yung freeware software is available without any cost. Any user can download it from the internet and use it without paying any fee. Itong freeware na to is libre natin siya madadownload sa internet na walang bayad. Makakagamit tayo ng makakagamit tayo ng libre, walang hassle. Saka ito nga, freeware software is software that is available free of cost. O yun, a user can download freeware from internet and uses it. Yun. So yun nga, makaka-download tayo ng libre na walang bayad saka hassle free. Ito yung halimbawa ng freeware ay yung Adobe Reader, Skype, TeamViewer, and Audacity. Yun yung mga freeware. Itong shareware naman is shareware software is a software that are freely distributed to user on trial basis. Ito yung mga pag dinownload mo, may free siyang 30 days trial o ganun. Magagamit mo siya ng pang 30 days lang, saka pagkatapos nun kailangan mo na magbayad o kaya mag-register sa kanila para magamit mo ng tuluyan. Tapos yung openware naman is open source pala. Sorry. Yung open source is this kind of software are available to user with a source code, which means the user can freely distribute and modify the software and additional features to the software. So yung open source naman is pwede siyang may bayad o wala. Yun. Ang open source application is user can modify, inspect, and enhance it to improve the software. So, pwede mo siyang baguhin o enhance pa kasi nasa yun naman yung source code niya. Kaya, yun. So, example naman ng mga open source application katulad ng Mozilla Firefox. Yun yung mga example ng open source. Punta naman tayo sa software. Itong software is they are also known as closed source program. These types of application are usually paid and have intellectual property rights. So yung software is ito yung binabayaran natin o kaya pinapa-install natin na may bayad, saka ito yung may mga patent or rights na naka-register na yung mga pangalan nila na kailangan mong bayaran. So, software. Halimbawa ng mga software is, so yung halimbawa nga ng sinasabi ko ng mga software is katulad ng Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 10, yung Android, yon yung mga example ng software na nasa ating mga laptop or gadgets.
Now, topic 2, programming language. A programming language is a set of instruction which the computer follow in the processing data. It tells the computer how to receive, process, and output the data. Programs are written in high-level language like COBOL, Fortran, Pascal, Basic, and etc. These are converted into a machine readable form by means of a computer program. A programming language is an artificial language that can be used to control the behavior of a machine. Particularly, a computer programming language are defined by a syntactic organism and systematic significant rules which describe their structure and meaning respectively. Many programming languages have some form of written specification of their syntax and semantics. Some are defined only by an official implementation. Programming language are used to articulate communication about the task of organizing and manipulating information, and to express algorithm precisely. Some authors restrict the term programming language to those languages that can express all possible algorithms. Sometimes the term computer language is used for more limited artificial language. Thousands of different programming languages have been created so far, and new languages are created every year. A machine language is a natural language of a particular computer. It's defined by a hardware design of the computer. Machine language generally consists of a string of numbers that instruction computers to perform their most elementary operations one at a time. Machine language are machine independent, i.e. a particular machine language can be used only one type of a computer. Machine language are cumbersome for humans, as can be seen by the following section of a machine language programming that adds every pay, base pay, and stores the result in gross pay. There's are many numbers. Go to assembly language. Instead of using string of non-number that computers could directly understand, programmers began using English like a abbreviation represent the elementary operation of the computer. Translating program called assemblers were developed to convert language programs to machine language at a computer speed. The following section of an assembly language program also adds overtime pay to base pay and stores the result in gross pay. But more clearly than its machine language equivalent, load base pay and overpay, store gross pay, all such code clearly to humans. It is a complete behavior to computers until translated to machine language. Now, the high-level language were developed in which single statement accomplish substantial tasks. It also developed to speed the programming process because it also programming to write instruction that look almost like every English and contain a commonly used mathematical notation, gross pay, base pay, overtime pay, translator programs called compilers to convert high-level language program into a machine language.
Computer organization. Regardless of difference in physical appearance, virtually every computer may be envisioned as being divided into 6 logical units or sections. These are number 1, input unit. This is the receiving section of the computer. It obtains information from various input devices and places this information at the disposal of the other unit so that the information may be proceed. For example, a laptop keyboard is an input unit that enters numbers and characters. Similarly, even a mouse can be an input unit for entering direction and command. Number 2, output unit. This is the shipping section of the computer. It takes information that has been processed by the computer and place it on various output devices to make the information available for use outside the computer. Example of output device including monitor, screen, printer, and speaker. Thus, output units basically reproduce the data formatted by the computer for user benefits. Memory unit. Memory unit is a component of a computer system. It is used to store data, instructions, and information. It is actually a work area of computer where the CPU stores the data and instruction. It is also known as a main primary internal memory. There are 2 types of memory. 1. Read-only memory or ROM. ROM is a part of the memory unit. This is read-only memory. It cannot be used to write. Then, ROM is used in situation where the data must be held permanently. 2. Random access memory or RAM is also part of memory unit. It is used for temporary storage of program data. Its data loss when power is turned off. Number 4, arithmetic and logic unit or ALU. This is the manufacturing section of the computer. It is responsible for performing calculation such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. It contains the decision mechanism that allow the computer, for example, to compare 2 items from the memory unit to determine whether or not they are equal. Number 5, Central Processing Unit or CPU. This is the administrative section of the computer. It is the computer coordinator and is responsible for supervising the operation of the other section. Example, a CPU is the central component of a device that executes the instructions in a program. Number 6, Secondary Storage Unit. This is the long-term high-capacity section of the computer. Program or data is not actively being used by the other units are normally placed on secondary storage device until they are again needed, possibly hours, days, months, or even years later. Why the secondary storage unit is not always being used by a computer because it is commonly used for archival and backup purposes. If a computer stops functioning, a secondary storage device may be used to restore a recent backup to a new system. Therefore, if you use a secondary storage device to back up your data, make sure you run frequently backups and test the data on a regular basis. Generation of programming languages. Terms to be defined. First, program. A series of instructions for completion of a specific task or for the performance of activity. A first list instruction that a computer follows to perform a task. Compiler. A programming that translates in a high-level language, such as a basic into machine language. As first generation. The most fundamental way to program a computer, using instructions made up entirely of string of O-sound first. The key concept is that language design were based directly on available hardware. Language names are acronyms and typically spelled with the capital letters. Second generation. A programming language that is very similar to machine language but uses symbols instead of a binary number. A programming is still forced to think in terms of a small, incremental step of machine language. Example of the 2G programming language is the ALGOL 60 usage. Third generation. A programming language whose sentiments are translated into the machine language instruction. Example of high-level languages are BASIC, Fortran, COBOL, and Pascal. A high-level programming language is a programming language that is more than user-friendly. Instructions in this language must be translated by a compiler or interpreter before can be processed. First, second, and third generation languages are all procedural languages because the programming must write each step and use logical control structures and indicate the order in which the instruction is to be executed. Fourth generation. Non-procedural languages are easier to code, but it gives you less control over how each task is actually performed. Examples: SQL features of 4GIS. Easy to learn, understand, convenient to accessing the database, focus on the maximizing human productivity rather than minimizing computer time. Non-procedural, available as package software that then used to develop custom applications. And the last, fifth generation. Non-procedural languages, they are most often used to access database or to build expert system. An example of fifth generation is Prolog.
Thank you po sa pagkikinig. Diyan na po nagtatapos ang aming report.